All right, welcome back. Been a slew news day the last couple of weeks for the NFL, but today ramped up with a couple of big news that will shake up the dynasty landscape and I guess fantasy football in general. First, Evan Ingram staying with the Jags for 3 years, re-signed. Didn't want to play on his franchise tag. We still have three players waiting to sign. Those will have big impacts in the fantasy football landscape. And finally, the big news of the day, DeAndre Hopkins finally choosing a team, and it is with the Tennessee Titans. Unfortunately, this doesn't really help the fantasy landscape as much as it hurts, especially Hopkins' potential. This team is not a pass heavy team, and Hopkins will get his because Robert Woods last year still got 91 targets off this offense coming off a major injury. And I expect Hopkins to get over at least 100, so that puts him on pace to be a potential wide receiver one, but I'm expecting mid wide receiver two production. And looking at this depth chart through the dynasty landscape, it definitely hurts Treylon Burks' potential this season. But Hopkins only signed for 2 years, and Treylon probably like a better situation now that he can learn from somebody instead of being thrown into the wolves and potentially getting hurt again. But looking at the rest of this wide receiver room, this was essentially the worst room in the league prior to DeAndre Hopkins. Like literally Treylon and a bunch of nobody. Kyle Phillips, strictly slot receiver, showed some promise last year. Still can't pay more than a fourth. I probably even won't pay for a fourth, but being the lone slot receiver on the team, it's probably worth stash. And then Westbrook Akine had some flashes, but I don't think he'll ever be what he's been in the league. And I didn't add on here was Colton Dowell was one of my deep stash training camp hype potential. This will definitely hurt his prospect of making the team this year, but if he does, he's a good stash in your taxi squad. So let's see how this affects the valuation for the rest of the receiving core for the Titans. So for Treylon, this valuation was before they signed Hopkins. I mean, he still produced pretty well last year, and he was being drafted like top 5 in rookie draft. And I still think his worth similar to that, depending on how much you value his talent. He is now the wide receiver 2 for the next 2 years. I don't know if you're willing to wait that long. It's gonna be in his final rookie. Well, he's first round pick. He get the option, but yeah, I don't think he'll be more than a wide receiver 3 at best, and that's with everything going right. Especially like this offense being low passing. But it'll definitely open up some opportunities with Hopkins being the main target. I'll just run design plays for him maybe. With his athleticism, he would excel in those. And finally for Chig, this was supposed to be his breakout year. He was slated to be the number 2 target, and now he's gonna get bumped to 3rd, which definitely caps his potential. But as a tight end, I don't think his value takes a hit. He's still one of the up and coming tight ends, and with my valuation of mid second, I'd still pay that regardless if Hopkins signed for like 5 years. But anyways, this also helps their quarterback room, Tannehill. So I value him as a late second. Entering today, with the Hopkins signing, it looks like the Titans are willing to go for it again this year, which means Will Levis most likely gonna sit out for the rest of the year, unless Tannehill shits the bed really hard, which I doubt it. For now, late second might cost a mid second now with the Titans. Seems like they're all in on Tannehill on this offense with Hopkins and Henry, and they're not ready to hunt yet. And let's see what Levis has. So this might take a little beating on Will Levis' valuation, because a lot of players that drafted him expected him to start at least by the end of the season. But assuming Lions are decent, especially against their weak division, they're probably still gonna be in playoff hunt until the final week of the regular season, and I don't see Lions moving on to Will Levis unless Tannehill gets hurt. So yeah, for redraft, I don't think Hopkins ADP is probably gonna drop like almost a full round. Not a full round, but like it's definitely gonna drop. Because although he is the #1 wide receiver now, this offense doesn't throw enough for him to, maximize his potential. And their defense is pretty good. The Tennessee Titans doesn't bode well for a lot of, garbage points, at least in my opinion. But yeah, that's how Hopkins for right now. I think Hopkins being valued like a mid-second before he signed for contending teams. Now that he's on a team, like it might bump him up a little bit to an early second. I'll probably pay like 2 late seconds, early second if I was, desperate for like a second wide receiver. But I would not pay for a first at this time or any time in his career. He's 31. So yeah, that's all. Just wanted to get some valuation on this news. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace.